You had to repair a trigger gun. So this thing's in the shop because it was basically not shutting off. So it would allow water through, but when you did that, it wouldn't stop allowing water through. And so here we got our repair kits. These are for the giant trigger guns. I'll show you what we get. Instructions and a little bag of springs, seals, and a steel ball, and a new pin. So first thing you want to do is just pull the screws out of this thing. That'll reveal the nut that needs to be removed to give you access to the internal parts. Here's your first spring. The ball came out. Then the larger spring. Now to get the rest, I like to push the pin through from the trigger side. Get a O-ring pick and just kind of poke it. And drive it through. Should be able to get it to where you can grab it with a pair of needle nose pliers. That thing's pretty rusted out. The ball itself is in decent condition. Usually I think it's these O-rings that fail. So then you got to get your O-ring pick and you'll be pulling out, I'll show you the part you're pulling out next. It's one of these metal rings. Just kind of hook it, yank it right out. And then you've got an O-ring beneath that, a larger O-ring beneath that. And then the little green O-ring is kind of hard to get out sometimes. This one might even be missing. I'm trying to get some light on it here. It's really hard to see this deep down into these, but it looks to me like this O-ring is just gone, which would explain the leak. Oh, nope, there it is. It's just not green, it was black. So I shoved the O-ring pick up through the trigger hole where the handle is, and I poked it out. It's just this little black guy. It's actually in decent shape. So now to reassemble this, we'll tear open our new repair kit. First thing we do is drop the new O-ring, which will be green, down in the back side where we pulled off that nut. So I lubricate it, I just put it in my mouth, get some saliva on it. Then I like to use a round, something larger and round, to act as a ramming rod to shove that down. You'll feel a little, almost like a click when it's in place. Okay, it's way down in there. It's pretty deep. I'm sure you won't be able to see it. I can't even see it unless I get some light on it. Then you want to seat your new large O-ring. Again, throw it in your mouth and put some saliva on it. This one I use the O-ring pick to shove it down. These are pretty delicate O-rings, so let me make sure you don't tear it when you're putting it in. So this one goes about halfway down, not near as far as the green one. It's got a little groove it needs to sit in against a little ledge. So it needs to go in as far as it'll go. Then you take your metal ring And this thing's got a little beveled side that goes down, so the it's kind of a raised inner ring faces downward. So just drop that in place. Use an O-ring to kind of shove it down against, or use an O-ring pick to shove it down against that O-ring you just installed. Okay, next you throw the ball in, the steel ball, just back right in top, then the large spring, then the small spring, and then you take your, I actually forgot to do this, I should have removed this O-ring. It's actually, these are in pretty good shape. I won't remove this one. I'd recommend you do it anyway, but for the sake of the video I won't pull this off. You just kind of tear into that. And then these two, there's two O-rings, the large O-rings. There's three O-rings, the small green one and two large ones that are identical. So those are interchangeable with the one I put in second and this last one. But that should be replaced in most cases, even though I've never seen them go bad. Then you just press those springs down and thread this on by hand. So just need it hand tight. Then you take your new pin, and it's beveled on both edges, or it's rounded. The one that's convex would go out. The one that's concave will go in. That'll basically cup the stainless ball that you put in there. So that you'll shove in from the little hole in the trigger side, and you'll feel it push past that first O-ring. At this point, I think I just dropped it. Yep, I had dropped it. I found it though. So you put that, and at this point you can engage the trigger to make sure it feels like it's moving. Hold that trigger in place to keep that pin from falling out. Throw a crescent wrench on that back nut, get it a little bit more tighter. Then you drop this back onto its plastic housing. Throw the other half on there. Drop all 7 screws in place. Grab your drill. So you want this on the slow setting on 1, and you don't want this torqued over to the drill setting. You want it maybe around 4. That way you're not over tightening. This red tape signified that this was a bad gun, so you can take that off now, and make sure to test it before you send it out to the field. We also like to put a Dremel and note that these have been rebuilt. This was rebuilt in July of 2016. So what I'll do is I'll grab the Dremel and I'll write 6 of 17. So this will be the second time this one's been rebuilt.